Keith Hackett has criticized inconsistent refereeing after Ryan Gravenberch and Anthony Gordon were both treated differently for committing acts of simulation. The former PGMOL chief and ex-FIFA official exclusively told Football Insider that the current boss of the PGMOL, Webb, has got to get a grip on fixing the diving issue that plagued the Premier League. The act of simulating contact and going to ground has been an issue in English football since the dawn of time. This season there have been plenty of incidents, such as when Hackett called Yohan Wissa a lucky man after he avoided punishment for a dive in Fulham's win over Brentford. Meanwhile, both Ahmad and Tyreek George dived in Man United and Chelsea's clash, with the Englishman escaping punishment, whilst the Ivorian was shown a yellow card. Finally, Hackett called for a bold solution after Brajan Gruita's act of simulation against Liverpool, suggesting that red cards should be shown for dives to fix the issue once and for all. Anthony Gordon escapes punishment, Ryan Gravenberch sanctioned. The final matchday of the Premier League saw plenty of drama, but one constant that remained was acts of simulation, and the inconsistency in the way they are refereed. Gordon flung himself to ground in the 32nd minute of Newcastle's 1-0 loss to Everton, attempting to win a free kick against Ashley Young. The England international was successful in his efforts, leading to the Toffees fullback furiously remonstrating with referee Tony Harrington to no avail. But in Liverpool's 1-1 draw with Crystal Palace, Gravenberch himself dived and was shown a yellow card by Darren England for his attempts to con the match officials. Anthony Gordon was awarded a free kick after minimal contact from Ashley Young. Criticised Keith Hackett analyzes footage of Ryan Gravenberch, Anthony Gordon dives. Speaking exclusively to Football Insider, ex-PGMOL boss Hackett went into depth to highlight how long diving had been an issue for, and what needed to be done to tackle it. He said, "You know, I'm going back a long time to when I was boss of the PGMOL and acts of simulation were being treated in similar manner, some referees penalizing, others not. We were inconsistent. We also had the problem of detecting simulation because, you know, what we then determined was that some players are really good at manufacturing contact, holding the leg out to act as an anchor, so what we did was we literally got the referees in a room, we showed them clip after clip after clip. Videos of acts of simulation, and videos where they were not simulation. And we discussed each one thoroughly in order to get a consensus of opinion on the course of action that we would take." Prior to the season, and I think it still continues, a meeting between the boss of the PGMOL, which was myself, and the managers of the Premier League and the Football League, right, and it wasn't a big room, it was for the Premier League. We had 3 separate meetings and they could determine which meeting the manager's going to attend, but they had to attend, and I can remember standing up and showing some clips and saying, "Gentlemen, I want you to know, before we start the new season, we are going to make mistakes because your players are getting better at diving. Cards per position, yellows, reds, number of cards. And that is part of the coaching responsibility that you have in terms of the integrity of the competition that you play in." Now here, I compliment Darren England. I watched, like your company does, a lot of Scottish television. And I do think that there is a greater consistency of penalising simulation in Scotland than there is in England. And an example of that is where the referees awarded a penalty kick, the VAR comes in and says, "No, it's not. Have a look at the screen." They go to the screen, they overturn the penalty kick, but they do not then issue a yellow card to the player who's clearly deceived the referee by an act of simulation. So I do think that there are a number of areas of officiating that Webb has got to get a grip of. In addition to that, I do think that the authorities, that's the FA, should have a separate panel that reviews the games, and where there are acts of simulation that have gone unpunished by the match officials, there is retrospective action taken. I know that FIFA don't like re-refereeing situations, but there are times when the referee's caught between a rock and a hard place in relation to this aspect of the game. Darren England was praised for his officiating by Keith Hackett. Credit him. The players are so good at it. And the thing you've got to look out for is the direction of travel of a player, and you're seeing in that case, Gordon is going down before he's anywhere near the challenge from Young. Now, for me it's penalized young. He's got it wrong, and therefore I think that if referees are ignoring and getting it wrong, then clearly that's part of the training and education process of the PGMOL to gain consistency of application of the law in the Premier League. Hackett then spoke on the fact that one selling point of VAR had been to put an end to diving incidents, but in its current form it could not interfere on many diving incidents. He said, well, under the current aspect of VAR it can only come in on goals, penalty kicks, offsides and mistaken identity. And as a result when you get acts of simulation which should be penalized, often the offender, the guy that's diving, is getting rewarded with a free kick. Martin Allen revealed exclusively to Liverpool News that the Reds may block Andy Robertson's move to Aston Villa.